Chapter 7. Vinification in white and rosé wine. Vinification of white wine. The wine is obtained of winemaking processes using the grape. Depending on the wine producing area that you are in, white wines can be made in different ways. White wine classifications are extremely broad as follows: aromatic wines or mildly flavored wines, dry, semi-sweet or dessert, still and sparkling, fresh and fruity, rancio wine. Most white wines on the market are young wines. They are made with the intention of being consumed within a short period. We suggest that their consumption does not exceed 1 year after bottling, as it is during this period when the wine reaches its highest quality. The white wines of Maset Del Lleo have been developed to attain the highest quality within the first year of the wine's life. White wine production involves many variables. Not only with regard to the grape variety, it is very important to use the proper techniques for obtaining a good crop, but also with regard to the healthy state of the grape. Therefore, it is advisable to monitor the ripening of the grapes closely. The grapes must be harvested at the right time. You should not harvest any bunches that look bad, and so, at Maset Del Lleo, it is important to hand select the grapes before and harvest them quickly so as to avoid oxidation, which can lead to spontaneous fermentation. It is important for Maset's winemakers to oversee the entire fermentation process, from harvesting, transporting, receiving the grapes at the winery, etc. The best way of getting a quality must is to exert small and moderate pressure on the grapes during pressing for low yields. You get a better quality must when you give the grapes a good pressing. It is also important that the solid parts of the bunch, skin and stalk, have the least contact with pressure to prevent unwanted tastes. In Maset Del Lleo, we work in a balanced way which allows us to get the pleasant scents but no herbal extract. That is to say, we use methods that promote positive exchanges between only the juice and the solids. Once the juice has been extracted, it is a hard task to control the stage of pre-fermentation maceration and to correct the must by conveniently separating the sludge. The most common procedure for removal of the sludge is by settling and wine transfer. Once these processes have been carried out, fermentation then starts in large vats or tanks of stainless steel. We try to make and ferment the wine deriving from the grapes of each vineyard separately in order to exploit the full potential of each vineyard. These vats have cooling systems or outer casings at different heights to control the fermentation temperature. The fermentation temperature will vary depending on the variety, but it is always advisable to maintain the temperature between 15 and 20 degrees centigrade. If we lower the fermentation temperature, we will slow the process down by several days, but you always get better aromas at low temperatures. This process takes approximately 15 to 20 days until the alcoholic fermentation has stopped. White musts can also be fermented in oak. However, this process is not advocated at Maset Del Lleo because the taste imparted by the wooden barrels is too intense and unstructured. It is for this reason that some of the white wines at the Maset Del Lleo are aged in wood, such as the Flor de Mar, but never fermented in wood. The main difference in the development of white and red wine is that while white wine is fermented without the skins, red wine is macerated and fermented with the grape skins, as that is where they draw their color. It is important to consume white wine during a period not exceeding 1 year or 1 year and a half after the harvesting date. For example, the Blanc de Blanc Maset Del Lleo of 2009 wine should be consumed before the end of the year 2010. Due to the general characteristics of white wine, they tend to have a shelf life of 2 to 3 years. Vinification of rosé wine. Rosé wine is defined by its color. It is an intermediate type of wine somewhere between white wine and red wine, which is produced without maceration or with a very short maceration. Let us not forget that maceration is done to allow the juice and skins of the grapes to steep together in stainless steel tanks. The raw material is always red grapes, and we could summarize by saying that rosé wine is a red wine made as if it were a white wine. Rosé wines are generally fruity and fresh, and have an attractive appearance thanks to their color. Rosé wines are made with a short maceration and malolactic fermentation to make the wine smoother whenever necessary. Other rosé wines are more like white wines and are macerated for shorter periods and are fresher tasting because they retain their malic acid. Depending on the content of malic acid and tannins in rosé wine, it will be more or less smooth. The exact definition of a rosé is difficult because we cannot look to its origin or method of vinification. It can be defined as the partial removal of red grapes or the total removal of pink-colored grapes, such as the Trepat grape variety, which is neither white nor red but pink. A rosé can never be considered a mixture of red and white wine, but the fundamental characteristic of rosé wines is their good looks, freshness, and some very nice hints of fruit in the mouth and a touch of sparkle. Making a rosé wine is difficult because not every harvest produces a class rosé. Rosé wines are produced using two techniques: white wine from red grapes, or using the method of partial maceration, called free-running juice from unpressed grapes. In Maset Del Lleo, we have opted for the method of vinification using red grapes and treating them as though they were white, following the same processes of draining and pressing. The Rosé Merlot Maset Del Lleo is produced by this method and is made exclusively from Merlot, a red grape variety. The end result is a fresh, aromatic and intensely flavored rosé. A wine of which we are particularly proud because of its fruity flavor and its defined structure. On the other hand, rosé wines which have been partially macerated are commonly called clarets. They are basically made from grapes in keeping with the methods of red wine fermentation, but with a much shorter period of color extraction via the maceration process. Rosé wines should be consumed within the same year, since they rarely have enough structure to keep them aging in bottle.